Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Goldfish.
Boys.
My name is Seth.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Skeets.
Sam is laughing because this is the first time we ever did a take two on the pod.
Yeah. All because of our favorite guest, right?
Take 2 is like take 10.
Yeah, all because of AJ.
AJ.
AJ ruins everything.
Yep. Okay, AJ.
Today we're talking about...
The Irishman.
Yes, sir.
The Irishman.
Mm-hmm. If you're new here, this is a show where I show my friends a new classic film every week. Today, of course, is Martin Scorsese's 2019 gangster film, The Irishman.
Yeah. So, real quick before we get into the movie,
Yeah.
I just want to say I learned some things yesterday.
Oh, yeah? What'd you
So,
learn?
my brother had a graduation party.
Mm-hmm.
And for the viewers that don't know, my brother is a research person at UT Health, and he's very smart. He has a lot of very smart friends. So he invited some of his very smart friends to his graduation party last night. And, you know, of course, in the convo with them, I had to, drop the Goldfish Boys. I was telling them about it. And unrelated to the Goldfish Boys, I started asking them, questions about how, science works and stuff. And they told me about, how freckles exist. And they said, dementia's, not real. And they said some things about, cancer. They don't really know what causes cancer.
Yeah.
So shout out to Harry and Sue Lee or something like that. And there's 2 other people from South Korea.
Yeah.
But shout out to y'all. I appreciate you guys explaining, and I just think the science that I learned will probably help our understanding of future movies on the Goldfish Boys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get them on the pod.
Probably.
Harry and
Suli.
Suli.
And then there was 2 other ones, but I couldn't
You don't remember
pronounce their
them?
names.
They stuck out to you.
Yeah. Whenever we were talking to them, I had to lock in.
Was it the accents?
Oh yeah.
I see.
Yeah. They were nothing compared to these Italian accents.
Well, what a segue. Usually it's Sam with the segues.
Yeah.
That's perfect. All right, guys. So, The Irishman.
Yeah.
2019, 3.5 hour long film. This is the last film in, if you've been following along, our De Niro v. Pacino series. This is the end of season 1, the finale. We had Heat, which was kind of like our goalpost. This is what we were aiming for. And then The Irishman is a film by Scorsese, kind of looking back on his career, looking back at the Mafia genre, and sending away these legends that we've known.
Yeah.
Bring it all home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
De Niro and Pacino with Scorsese all together for one last bang. What'd y'all think?
Dang.
Yes,
Sorry.
sir.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, probably one of the higher ones out of the whole list that we've made.
It's surprising. What about you, Elijah?
I thought this film was incredible. I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was very unique compared to the other films, mostly because of the age gap between the other films and this one. It was nice to see a fresh take on the Mafia movie that we've been seeing all these classic stuff. It was nice to see something
new,
something fresh,
Slightly
modern,
different, the style.
same story, same sentiment, but in a different format. I thought that was cool.
Because you were pointing out how our association with all the Mafia films is the look of the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
And seeing it in such a cleanly shot manner was just something new to
It
you.
was great. It was awesome.
We were thrown off by the quality.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you turn it on, you're like, whoa. Dang.
All right. So where would you say that ranks for you in terms of Scorsese's films?
So right now in Scorsese's list, this is, I believe it's number 4 or 5.
You have it above Taxi Driver and Goodfellas right now.
I do.
right?
He has most movies
Don't
above
come at
that.
me, viewers.
That's crazy.
Don't come at me.
Yeah.
So in Scorsese, this is number 5 in our series that we have been doing of the 16 films that we've done. This is number 8, so dead in middle. Yeah, notably, it's above Taxi Driver and Goodfellas. It is below some films of course, Heat, The Godfathers, Raging Bull, Casino, and Once Upon a Time in America.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. For me, the first time that I watched this movie was when I was first getting into cinema in 2020. So the first year of cinema that I really got into was 2019. That's the first year where I was specifically hunting for the best films of the year and trying to rank them.
Yeah.
And that was when most of my film viewing experience was mostly Marvel films and just more mainstream stuff. And I didn't have any experience with Mafia films.
Okay.
So as I told you guys I watched this movie without any understanding of the baggage behind the De Niro and Scorsese reunion. It had been like a super long time since they had worked together, and Pesci came out of retirement for this.
Yeah.
And this is Pacino and Scorsese's first time working together, right? Like all of that stuff, I didn't understand that was like a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. So that for one was a reason why at the time I thought it was just like good, but I didn't understand why it was like so highly praised.
Sure.
Right. But now I watched it again a few years later, and then obviously we just recently watched it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it reaches the highs of Scorsese's career.
Yeah.
But it's still a very important piece in his career, in my opinion, as far as like him looking back at his career. Because in this film, it feels like a very like reflective piece in context of like Goodfellas, Casino. Those are his like prime time,
flashy,
hyper accelerated electric films where he's like not necessarily super young, but he's throwing his fists. And this one is like a lot of the themes of the movie really aligned with, to me at least, like what Scorsese's career looks like right now. Of
he's
like,
grown up.
Yeah, of like, especially that last hour of De Niro's character like looking back and looking at the legacy that is left behind. And like the questions is like, was it worth it? Or like everyone's gone. Like right, like will you be remembered? I like how they talk about like Jimmy Hoffa, and it's like the nurse doesn't know who Jimmy Hoffa is. Yeah, and that to me was kind of like Scorsese's like, no matter how great I am or how great we are, we will be forgotten. Like De Niro being left behind, I feel like that's how Scorsese feels. With like just the industry at large.
So I have a quick question. So you said the first time you saw it, or when you watched it during the Rona, you thought it was good, like a good film, but you didn't understand the baggage behind it.
I didn't understand anything.
Knowing as like the baggage and the complete picture, it makes the film better to you.
Absolutely, because I feel like that's missing a huge picture if you don't understand the journey of like De Niro, Scorsese, and the gangster mafia as a whole. Like I think a goodbye letter to mafia films, or like a love letter to mafia films, and a send off wouldn't mean anything to you if you didn't know about the genre, right? Yeah, because it really is like the last one of its kind. I don't think they're gonna make any more of these.
That brings up like an interesting point in my mind, because it's like, do y'all think that stuff like this, like the baggage that a film brings, like when we're looking at how good a film is, should that stuff be taken into account, if that makes sense? I understand that it gives it more of an impact, but when we're talking about like the technical quality of a film, should stuff like that be brought into it? If that makes sense.
You're talking about the meaning of a film beyond the text.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like so far I've talked about stuff that's outside of the text. I've talked about stuff that's outside of the movie. Technically I haven't even really talked about the movie. Yeah. But I think it's impossible to separate the movie's place and the movie itself, because any movie is completely different if you move when it was released, right? Like Avatar 2009 is a completely different movie if it was released in like 1980 or 2050, right? Because of like the relationship with the rest as a whole. But certainly, like if you're only taking that into account, then you're just like forgetting the movie in the first place. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Sam?
Like specifically, like what's attached to this movie?
Yeah, like we're talking about how like so far I'm talking about the importance of the film in relationship to genre.
I feel like the reason it's so high for me, right, is because I have an attachment towards it from all the movies we watched. Without like all the movies before that, I wouldn't appreciate a lot of the stuff this movie does. So
I guess what I'm saying is, should it be that way? Should your let's say your rating of the movie?
That's like if you're watching a series almost. It's not a series, of course, but like, you watch Jurassic Park 1 and 2, but you watch 2 first, you're obviously not going to like 2 as much probably than if you had.
But that's probably because of like plot line stuff. Right?
Yeah, I guess not the best example, but
Sure. Yeah, because I guess my thought is like, but we could also say this about like, take away the name Scorsese. Yeah. And do you think it's like still as good of a film? There's stuff that it's impossible to remove it from. Yeah. Of course.
I think it is important to consider that. Like I think about that when I'm watching films by like people that I already love, and I'm like, if I didn't know that this was made by this guy, would I think it's that good? That's always a question, but I think it always just comes down to like it's really just up to you, right? Yeah. There's no like objective way to measure it.
Yeah. I try to, I'm not gonna lie, whenever I try to like review a movie, I do try to, in my mind, like obviously it's impossible to remove, but I try to keep into consideration that like I'm looking at this past, who made it, who's like the names attached to it, the context behind it. I also try to like think about like how good the film is technically. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's an interesting like thing that I thought of whenever I was thinking about that.
The only reason this movie's good is because of Thelma.
Thelma was cooking again, dude.
Yeah, Thelma always cooks though.
Yeah.
Another thing that I have been thinking a lot about with this movie is that with it being released in 2019, right? We talked about how this film is the send off to the mafia genre, and it's also it's like getting the whole gang back together. It's a reunion in many ways. Like I mentioned, we get like Harvey Keitel from Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, these like older crime films. He shows up, and there's all these like faces in it. And to me, this is like, it's very ironic and fitting that this movie comes out in the same year that Avengers Endgame does.
Oh, interesting.
Because they're both on either side of the aisle of like, The Irishman in many ways can be read as like a grief of the changing of the filmmaking industry, like of how like the industry is dying, of how like cinema is dying, right? And this is while Avengers Endgame is coming out, and that whole franchise is being accused of being why cinema is dying, right? The oversaturation of Marvel films. So those two coming out in the same year is incredibly fitting, not only that it's capping off the decade, but they're both capping off two parts of film that are on opposite ends. The Irishman sending off auteur, like non-IP mafia filmmaking in Scorsese, and Avengers Endgame capping off IP franchise oversaturated cinema that people, like during this time, people were arguing about Marvel being cinema, not only because of the anxiety of like Marvel taking over theaters, but because famously during the rollout of this film in an interview, Martin Scorsese said that that Marvel was not cinema and that they were theme parks. So that's like another huge thing like surrounding this film.
It's an attraction to look at.
Do you remember that, Sam?
I don't remember that, but that's a hot take.
Yeah. Do you recall that? Were you around for that?
No, not at all.
Yes. That this time on the internet was like a huge discussion point of like Martin Scorsese come out and just being like, yeah, Marvel's not cinema. They're like theme parks, like amusement parks. And that became a huge thing where like some people were like, yeah, that's right. This is ruining, killing the industry. And then on the other side of it, it's like actually Marvel's taking the forward step and pushing cinema because of like the whole shared universe idea. I don't know. What did y'all think about that?
I slightly agree with him because like a lot of the recent Marvel movies, the reason I watch them because it's like an attraction. You know, like I'm just going there to see the spectacle. You know, I'm not going there for the story. I'm not going there because I care about the characters. So I kind of see what he means.
What do you think, Elijah?
That's an interesting take. I didn't hear about that. It makes sense to me. I wonder why Scorsese like had the idea to do this.
I don't think it was like an intentional like, oh, I'm targeting them. I think he really was just honestly answering a question.
Sure.
And then it just got blown out of proportion.
But like more so like why he made the movie.
Oh, yeah.
In general. Because, like what made him want to say goodbye now.
Yeah.
Instead of like,
because of course like Heat is like peak. I know he didn't direct Heat, but which was the
1995 Heat?
You're talking about Casino?
Yeah. Was that Scorsese? That was Scorsese, right?
Yeah, Casino was Scorsese. Yeah.
So like Casino is like incredible.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. How many years were between Casino and
20 years at least, like 25, 26.
Like I wonder why now. I wonder what. Obviously, the purpose was like a send off.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting, like what made him have the idea to do a send off. Why then? And of course, considering he's still making movies, obviously, and they're good. They're like good films. So I don't know. Why do y'all think that?
For me, this is just my reading on it, but to me, it's just that he got old. Like to me, old age is like the key theme in The Irishman. Like especially that last hour, that epilogue to me was just devastating.
Yeah.
And to me, it was just like, oh, like Scorsese is afraid of dying, and like a big theme in his whole career, just like the discourse surrounding Scorsese is his relationship with like Catholicism and like sin and all that, given like the violent nature of his films and his background as a Catholic. And it's like, oh, Scorsese also is like thinking about his upcoming death, and he's like reflecting on his life. Like I really felt that scene when De Niro is sitting there with the, I don't know if it was like the FBI or the CIA, and then they were like, they're all dead. Like all your friends are dead.
Who are
and
you?
Like,
Protecting.
Yeah, it's like Scorsese's like.
Oh, we forgot spoilers.
Spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Spoilers. If
spoilers.
Thank you, Elijah.
But yeah, also like it's almost like his thoughts in this whole movie, because he specifically in one scene, also one of the older ones, he's like, do you know who Jimmy Hoffa was? Right? No one's gonna know Scorsese. Well, like some people will, right? But you'll hear Scorsese,
like he'll be forgotten.
Yeah, and no one will know.
Yeah, like when De Niro was like boy, if you knew, like Jimmy Hoffa was like the most incredible, like he was the most popular man in the world, yada yada, and like the whole aging hitman idea fits so perfectly with where Scorsese is in both career and life. Like I just thought about that. It's just so devastating of like all of this success is behind him, and then this moment in time, and like the whole poeticism of him bringing like all of the gang back together, for one last thing.
Hoorah.
It's like he's preparing
like
for
he
all
feels
of them
old.
to die.
Yeah.
Like he's like, you could feel it. It's like, oh, they're literally doing one last like hit before they die.
Yeah.
Like when Pacino gets taken out.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's just so sad to me. But yeah, that's how I felt. What do you think?
Yeah. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, this was definitely a send-off movie. Like it feels that way. Even if you didn't have any context, it kind of feels like a goodbye just from the last hour, like the old man.
Yeah. One thing, since we're just still talking about general thoughts about the movie, I thought the pacing was incredible because obviously there's several time jumps. Like it's time jumping the whole movie, but I remember having the feeling of whenever the final time, whenever it goes to when they're old, I felt like, oh my gosh, we just saw all this and now we're already up to speed. Like we're already in the current state. It felt like they got us to the end very like smoothly. Like I didn't feel like it was super choppy or jumpy. As soon as I knew it, we were already at the end.
So you like the pacing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like
good.
actually one of my only issues with the movie.
Really?
Yeah,
How
the
come?
pacing. Just the middle part, I felt like that part was really slow. Like I did like the slow burn of the whole movie, right? I just feel like that middle part wasn't.
I guess I shouldn't say I liked the pacing. I liked that despite all of the time jumps. To me it felt.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's moving back and forth.
Yeah, to me it didn't feel choppy. So that's not pace, right? Because it wasn't like slow and fast. I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
I know what
right
you're
word.
talking about, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole movie runs smoothly.
Yeah.
Additionally, on top of, so we've talked about like the Irishman's place as far as its relationship with Marvel, right? And we talked about it in relationship with the Mafia genre. And then lastly, I think maybe it's become more normalized for films to be released like under Netflix or Prime or Max.
Yeah. Not theater releases, just.
Yeah, that's become more normalized, especially post-COVID. But I remember Scorsese working with Netflix at the time was like a big deal because that was at the time of the whole like streaming takeover panic. And I mean, people still talk about it now, but there was big talks about how like, oh, there are more and more films that are being released straight to streaming. Like there's a very like popular lineage of films that are getting like awards and being released under Netflix that would have otherwise been like big theater releases. And it was said in an interview that Scorsese and De Niro were struggling to get funding for their film. And the reason why Scorsese worked with Netflix wasn't because like he liked Netflix, because it was pretty clear that he didn't like streaming and he didn't want to work with a like straight to streaming like release. But he did it begrudgingly because no other studio would back the film.
Really?
He just needed the money.
Yeah, like literally no other studio would back the film.
That's confusing. Why do you think that was?
Well, because this is a 3.5-hour Mafia film that would probably not make returns in the box office.
I feel like, if you bring it to like a bunch of big, studios, they'd be like, this isn't going to make money. Like, because that's what they care about. Yeah.
Also, it's super expensive. They wanted to use the de-aging stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like a massive budget that they required for this film.
But I get that, but the difference is the era, right? Because we literally just watched 12 3-hour Mafia films that made money, right? The difference is that it wouldn't make money.
Well, yeah, like that's why like today
course.
a bunch of producers would be like, that's not going to make money in this day. We need more Marvel stuff and like
That's interesting.
So
I feel like you just
I feel like
give him the money.
I feel like they should have because of his name. Right?
Yeah.
Like, because he has so much credit.
Yeah, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him and it's going to be successful.
But there goes, like, the mind of the studio exec. What they're not worried about, as far as, like, their jobs being on the line, isn't if the movie's good. It doesn't matter if the movie's good if it just makes money. They lose millions and millions of
Return
dollars.
is what they care about,
Yeah, exactly. So that was a huge topic point of, like, even Martin Scorsese can't get funding for his film. And now all these directors are running towards streaming, and now there's this whole like wave of like straight to streaming directors. Like you got David Fincher working with Netflix, straight to streaming.
Yeah.
Aaron Sorkin films going to Netflix, right? The Wes Anderson short story went to Netflix. Like that's just something of like the panic of like the theaters like dying and cinema dying, along with the topic of The Irishman itself.
Sure,
it's just really interesting how that all kind of.
I kind of felt like relates. It was like timely, since this is like a send-off film. I thought it was like, oh, okay, we're gonna like it's going into the next chapter of cinema, which is like largely based in streaming.
Yeah, it's so ironic.
Yeah, it is.
What do you guys think about streaming? Do you think it's taking over? I think it's oversaturated at this point.
I think it's just like obviously streaming is a great tool.
Yeah,
but I think it's an issue when movies go straight to streaming. Like they don't. Yeah. Because a big problem has been movies that have had very limited or no theater. What do you call it? Like the time that they spent in the theater.
Box office run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that. Like for example, Rian Johnson was pissed about Glass Onion because that thing basically went straight to streaming, and that could have done numbers at the box office, right? I don't know. Did that ever occur to y'all about like Scorsese working with Netflix?
I didn't even know it was with Netflix. I didn't know that till you just mentioned it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
The only reason I knew is because it has like the red in on it.
I didn't see that.
The fact that it's literally all these films we've had to buy. Well, Seth has had to buy, and Brett's been racking up the money on Fandango. But like, this is the only one. I think this is probably the only one that was on a streaming service that we didn't have to pay for.
Yeah, we just logged into Emily's account and it was
there. You go. Yeah, we did watch it on front of the pod. Emily's account. The Blueberries page.
Thanks, Emily, for funding our screening of The Irishman.
Yeah,
she'll get her cut like in a few years.
Yeah, so like that's why like technically we haven't even talked about the movie itself yet, but all those topics surrounding the movie make me really just enjoy the idea of it as a whole.
Yeah, for sure.
Like its place as like a landmark or a milestone in cinematic history of it being like both. It's an in between player of like we're saying goodbye and we're also saying hello and we're also competing in the now.
It kind of felt like Heat in that way, where it's like there's so much leading up to it, and it's very significant outside of the technical feats of it, right?
Yeah. Any other general thoughts before we dive into categories?
I don't think so. But shout out to our live studio audience here. We have friend of the pod Alexis, and friend of the pod Sean. So they'll be on the pod soon.
One day.
Oh yeah, of course. We'll get the Mamma Mia episode with Alexis.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's funny because how like serious this combo has been so far, but genuinely like just thinking about this movie makes me feel like I don't know.
Little tingle, eh?
You should have seen me in that last hour just looking at it. I was like, damn, like I need to get my life straight.
You're reflecting like an old man, yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, this movie, not my favorite Scorsese. It's honestly like on the lower half.
Yeah.
But that's just because I love his other stuff. Man, his other stuff is amazing. Let's get into categories.
Let's do it.
Goldfish Boys, favorite scene. What do we got? I can start us off if y'all want to think.
I have one.
Oh yeah, you got one? Go ahead, Sam.
It's pretty early. It's so when the introductions and he's explaining his job and he goes, "I paint houses," and then it's immediate shot of the wall being splattered with blood.
Yeah, so I love that.
He is painting houses. He's painting them red with people's
Dipping into the inside scoop, De Niro wanted the film to like officially be called "I Heard You Paint Houses."
Really?
You saw the title card at the beginning of the film. It says "I heard you paint houses."
That it was like just a bunch of text, and I was like, "What is that about?"
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And at the end, it says "I heard you paint houses." Yeah, and De Niro wanted it to be called "I Heard You Paint Houses."
Really?
Yeah.
That's a very interesting point because I never thought about that. Because I remember when it came on, you said, "I don't remember this."
Yeah, I didn't remember that. Yeah.
And I mean, why would you? It's not the title of the film, but it's used like a title.
Yeah, like it's
literally a title card.
Wow.
And that's why I was recalling, like in some reviews, people just refer to it as "I Heard You Paint Houses."
I've never even seen that. I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
What do you think for your favorite scene?
Favorite scene? I have multiple.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of scenes that I love in this movie. It feels like a lot of the scenes are like, hey, we got the gang back together. Let's just like have fun in this one and then have fun in like the movie is a series of it's an episodic series of conversations where all-time legend actors get a chance to just flex their chops one last time.
Sure.
That's to me like how I watched it. Like it wasn't a greatest hits, but it was like a last dance type film.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh, like De Niro and Pacino get to like really eat it up right here. Like Pacino just going for it.
Pacino was going.
Yeah, and like here's Pacino. It donned in the suit one last time, right?
Yeah.
My favorite scene, it's probably the 15 minutes late argument.
Shoot, yeah, I was going to say
the same thing. That scene is so
that's
funny.
a banger scene.
Yeah, it doesn't even really like mean anything.
Yeah,
just hilarious.
The back and forth.
Yeah. I read that Stephen F. Graham improvised a line to get De Niro to talk because he was like he finally had a scene with De Niro. And he was like, "What do you mean? Like he doesn't have a single line like in this whole script?" So De Niro talking in there was improvised.
You just wanted him in.
Yeah,
that's funny.
But yeah, easily Tony Pro. I thought Stephen Graham was phenomenal in this film.
Yeah, he was incredible. I saw Stephen Graham in Adolescent, which is the recent series on Netflix, and I thought he was incredible. I had asked like Seth who that was and what's up with him, and it's funny that I saw him in this because he looks really different in this too.
He does.
I don't know if that's
completely different type of character. I didn't see Adolescence, but I could tell. Yeah.
So I was gonna say that scene, but my second favorite scene, one that I really liked, was when Pacino is yelling at the people in his office.
That's my second one on here. Yeah, we both have the same top two.
And then he just leaves and he's like, "I'm not talking about you."
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I thought that was like freaking hilarious.
And when he's like taking off his jacket, like gaslighting, he's like, "No, I wasn't.
I'd never do that.
I would never do that to you." He's like, "No, go back."
Yeah.
So
I feel like kind of low key, like De Niro misinterpreted it because if I was in that room and I'm his Hoffman, what's his name?
Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah, Hoffa. Yeah. If I'm his like right hand man, I feel like I know he's not chewing me out.
Yeah, like you'd almost be standing next to him.
Exactly.
Instead of like
De Niro should have been standing on his side. Yeah, but I thought that scene was hilarious.
So those are obviously two of the funniest scenes.
Yeah.
But to me, like a pivotal scene that's not necessarily my favorite to watch because it's like more dramatic and less like funny, but one that really sticks out to me. I guess there's two of these, but I'll stick with one. The scene where Pesci is warning Pacino, Hoffa, at the big party.
Dude,
yeah.
And De Niro is just staring.
Yes.
And you feel that De Niro knows exactly what's going down.
Yeah.
And you could feel the tension of like, they're going to kill my buddy if I don't like get in there. And I love that because you hear the dialogue, and so you know exactly what they just said. And obviously De Niro's off in the distance, but you could feel that he knows exactly. Like you could feel the conflict that he's reading it. Like he knows. I love that so much.
I think all of the collection of scenes at that party are like really cool because, like you're saying, I low-key I thought it was gonna go the route of like, oh, this is my night. You've made me like I'm jealous. Or not jealous,
like you've ruined it. My night.
Ruined it.
Yeah.
Like I invite you to this nice thing. I ask you to do this honor to me, and then like you're doing your business, right? Like I thought it was gonna go that route, but I love what you're saying that like he can read it.
Yeah.
The other thing, okay, my favorite, another collection of scenes that I very much like is whenever I think of this movie, I'm going to think about the retirement home stuff, and like nursing home,
that collection of
and
scenes.
hospital. I guess all that stuff at the end, like the stuff that was before that is great. Like I'm gonna think about them in the car making the the trip, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I think of this movie, I'm gonna think of the nursing home.
Same. The epilogue easily is one of the most devastating, most heartfelt things that I've watched in Scorsese's filmography. Like, I think Scorsese will always be remembered for the flash of his filmmaking. Like, the style is just off the charts in all these films. But the quaint and just really slow moments as De Niro's character is dying, just like every single one of those scenes so devastating. And like even on that final shot, the scene with the
door being left open.
Yeah, and also the scene with the pastor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Totally.
yeah.
Him like
that was really sad.
Like praying, and just like you could feel that he feels nothing in that prayer.
Yeah.
Just so sad.
He just wanted to do it to feel. I guess he was trying to.
And he's trying to convince himself that he can get into heaven, like pay for his sins. But yeah. And then additionally, I love all the tutorial scenes. Like in this movie, there's a lot of like, here's how we did this, and then he just like, with narration and montage shows like how he picks a gun.
Yeah,
like that scene is awesome. Where he's like choosing like these guns are too
loud, too bulky.
Yeah, definitely not a silencer. You want to scare like.
And you made this point when we were watching it. I think is that it felt like Taxi Driver in some way, of him like carrying out this thing and
his own job and like
showing the journey of how he did it. Yeah. I also thought I think some of the most like captivating scenes was the whole the part where De Niro kills Pacino.
Yeah.
I thought
Jimmy
the
Hoffa,
scenes leading up to it.
Yeah,
with
that
the whole
whole
car
sequence
stuff.
was amazing.
Like we knew what was gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
There's so much like it's so uncomfortable and cringy. Like when he
totally.
wants to like make sure he's sitting next to Hoffa.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
no, you sit in the front. I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And
Not
it's-
only that, but whenever they pull up the car to
Yeah.
pick up Pacino, and like Pacino, he knows.
You think he knows?
and I don't think
I think he knows.
I don't think he has any idea.
No, you think
No.
so?
I think he made a mistake. But like, yeah, I don't think he had any.
I think he
idea.
genuinely had no idea.
Because
No.
even when he's gets to the house,
Yeah.
he's like, "Let's go, Frank."
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
he's like,
oh, they
flaked on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Pro isn't here.
You think so?
And he
Yeah.
was like very like friendly with Frank, and then just
I thought Pacino like knew something what was up, but I
Oh.
think he knew that he couldn't do
you know,
anything.
I think you
Interesting.
are right. I think he knew something was up.
Not that he was gonna die,
but he didn't even think about it because he saw Frank.
No,
Sure.
I actually
Yeah.
disagree. I think that he was completely oblivious.
really.
Because I think
Adam, okay.
I think he was completely oblivious because a big point is like he's a loudmouth and he feels invincible. Like
Sure.
the whole like there's a whole 45-minute stretch where they're warning him. They're
Yeah.
telling him
Yeah.
that they're gonna kill you.
We
And
did
he's
all-
like, no. It's like, dude, they're literally telling you we're
Sure.
gonna take you out. And he's like, no, nothing's gonna happen to me.
There's a
no.
whole scene where we did all we could. We tried to
Yeah.
help him. Yeah.
Dude,
Well-
the cereal eating scene was devastating. When De Niro was like kind of like holding back his tears because
Yeah.
he knows his best friend is gonna die. Go ahead.
I mean, even the fact that they got his son in the car, it like
Yeah.
doesn't. Yeah. I thought everything that Plemons was in was very good.
I love
I
Plemons.
love Jesse Plemons.
Yeah. He's one of those great actors that could show up in a movie for 5 seconds and just destroy his role.
Yeah.
That was a funny scene. Why do you have a fish?
Dude, I love that
The
dialogue.
fish scene.
It's just so like,
It's like, what kind of fish was
casual.
it? And then Jesse Plemons destroys that.
Yeah.
He's like, what does it matter? What does it matter what kind of fish? What does it matter?
you go pick up a fish. You don't know what kind of fish you get. Like,
I love that. It was what was it, Sally and I forgot
yeah,
what
it was Sally, and then
Sally and the Hoffa son, whatever his name
Yeah.
was.
George, I think. No, I can't remember.
And I have one last favorite scene, but I'm gonna save it for quote of the movie.
All right.
Talladega Nights, quote of the movie.
All right.
Great
This
transition.
one, we have one for today. I lined it up beforehand. We're gonna do one. This is Talladega Nights quote of the movie.
I love the pod lightening up as we talk about our favorite scenes. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, it does.
Okay.
All right, so this is after Ricky Bobby, played by Will Ferrell, and John C. Reilly, who plays the character Cal Naughton Jr. They are racers, NASCAR racers for the same company, and this is when Cal Naughton Jr. suggests to Ricky Bobby that maybe he should let him win a race because Ricky Bobby always wins and Cal Naughton Jr. always helps him win. But Cal Naughton Jr. is like, I think I should have a turn to win. And this is Ricky Bobby's response. Okay, Ricky Bobby says this. You can't have two number ones. And Cal Naughton says this. Yeah, because that would be 11.
Okay.
That's good. I
Yeah.
feel like somehow that really matches the theme
theme
of this movie.
Of Irishman?
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
like
You can't have Marvel and this going
Yeah,
on at the same
exactly.
time.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. Yeah,
Yeah, you
that's
can't-
why I picked the quote.
like this movie is like you can't have it all.
But that just made me
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah, it was pretty good, right?
What quotes did y'all have for this movie?
For this movie, specifically, I guess this doesn't even count as a quote, but it's just a little quip that he says when he's old. They're like, "Your lawyer's dead." And he's like, "Who did it?"
Dude, that was funny and sad.
Yeah, like if
Tragic.
that's something that you could use, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was really sad.
yeah.
For-
Go ahead.
For mine, it's like the concerned lines. It's
Concerned.
It's when someone says they're a little concerned.
Ah!
That means
They're really concerned.
They're really concerned. If someone says they're a little bit more concerned, then they're like freaking out.
They're
or like
desperate.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That happens.
I love that.
There's a verse like where they explain it, right?
Yeah.
And then what's his name? Joe Pesci's character
Yeah.
says that, but
Says
they don't
it, yeah.
explain it. But you could understand.
That's a gas
Yeah,
line.
I
It's a
love that
gas line.
so much. That's such a classic
Big-
like Scorsese-ism
It
right
kind of
there.
reminded me of the lines that we saw in Casino.
Exactly.
Because they build
Exactly.
off like they're like a running. They build off of each.
like they're
other.
in conversation with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this,
Incredible.
then this, then this. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And also like the narration and the dialogue within the movie talking to each other.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah,
they're
for
in
sure.
conversation. For me, my favorite quote of the movie easily, and one of my favorite scenes, is when there's an assassination attempt on Jimmy Hoffa in court,
Uh-huh.
and then Sam just remembered. He was like, "You always charge a guy with a gun. With a knife, you run away." And
Yeah.
he keeps like teaching everyone. He's like, "This is my son. This is my son. Notice what he did. Notice what he did." Yeah, he charged him.
Yeah.
And then I forgot what his rhyme was. So he was like, what do you say? It was like with a
gun, you charge them. With a knife, you run or something like that.
yeah. And he was like, I rhymed, that rhymed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was
so
great.
good. I love that whole like teaching people what to do versus between a knife versus a gun.
Right
I
after
love
he
that.
almost got assassinated.
Yeah.
Do y'all okay? So whenever I saw that assassination scene, my first thought was that it was a like staged assassination attempt.
I think so.
What do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I don't think it was real.
Yeah.
Because how do you mess up that?
I want to
bad?
look it up, but I mean, like, it's probably a real thing that happened. Like,
Well, I'm
Oh,
sure.
you mean
I'm sure that
it's
happened a
biopic.
few times. Yeah, but I don't know if that specific one that they were doing in court was real.
I'd imagine that that's probably like a thing that actually happened.
Okay. I guess I forgot that this was like a true story.
No.
I think based on like the way they shot it, to me, they were trying to make you think that it was like staged.
Yeah.
Because I guess the way he reacted to me was very like,
He was like performative.
oh my, I almost got shot.
I don't know. We'll have to
Yeah.
look that up. I should have looked that up for an inside scoop. Oh
Yeah,
well.
do better, Seth.
Gonna have to make some layoffs.
Layoffs. Also, I really thought Elijah would be like locked in this movie every single time the word union. Like,
Okay, I loved this movie
Yeah.
because of that. I thought it was so interesting with the Union Mafia.
and like the brothers.
all the
and
presidents?
that, Yeah.
I was not expecting it because we've seen Union themes in a lot of these movies.
Yeah,
I
like,
think at least like 2 or 3 of them.
A lot of them say, "Oh, I work for the union," or
Yeah.
like a lot of them say, "Oh, he's in the trades, we're construction worker." Yeah,
It's interesting because whenever I joined the local 142 plumbers and pipe fitters, all your pipe fitting needs, they told me I was like asking my friends about how the management works of the union, and they told me like, yeah, it kind of feels some sort of like mafia or mob-ish, like even my union. Like I'm serious, because it's like you have power by like getting involved. Like people give you, it's like politics, right? Like people give you power, and the guy at the top kind of like controls the.
They're
people.
invisible strings.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and seeing the union role in all these films, it's kind of like it kind of makes me think. Like obviously, my union is not like mafia.
But you think,
infused,
like,
but
what's
the
going on in some
structure
of those?
reminds me of like a mafia.
You ever
It's
wonder if
interesting.
you're associated with mafia?
Well, I am, but that's neat.
I was gonna say like Elijah, you need to hush before they fire you, or
Yeah.
kick you out. They might take you out.
No joke. But yeah, I loved how much like this movie was like a lot of union, bro.
Goldfish
A
Boys
lot
went
of trade
missing.
stuff. This is probably the most
union.
trade heavy movie of the Goldfish
Yeah.
Boys so far.
Well, yeah.
They talk about
yeah, I
different
guess so.
unions too, right?
Yeah,
They're,
it's not really like
local-
trades, but like union.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Union, yeah.
Teamsters, yeah, and Teamsters is still huge.
Yeah.
So.
All the scenes where all the Union people are like, yeah,
I love that.
But that was
yeah.
great.
Mhm.
That was really, really.
Yeah,
good.
Elijah was standing up during those, applauding.
Yeah,
Big Jimmy Hoffa guy over here.
yeah. I don't like Fitz.
Honestly, I think Jimmy Hoffa, Al Pacino, probably MVP of the movie.
Oh, that's the next category. Kevin
Segue.
Durant, real MVP of the movie.
Al Pacino.
Dig in.
He stole the screen every single time he was in a scene. Every dialogue he had, the interaction with Tony Pro, even when he was getting assassinated, your eyes were locked onto him and what was happening. He was, even for him in his old age, he was really like ecstatic.
Yeah.
So I loved his role.
What about you?
Full of life. Now, I would also it's Pacino, but I wanted to compare him because one of the movies that we watched recently, Pacino also had a super bubbly, loud personality. What was it? Heat?
Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's another similarity in my mind between this movie and
Heat,
Heat.
yeah.
Is like Pacino was cranking it, and he was really funny. He was really loud and like brash. I thought that was super
And De Niro's
good.
also like quiet, stone
yeah.
cold.
Yeah, and Casino, De Niro is really
Stone Cold.
yeah, like is all up here. For me, the MVP of the movie is probably Pesci.
Pesci, wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I love how we get to see him in a role that I don't think
We
fits.
see him often.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a role that we don't normally see him in. I think it's fun to see him do that.
I like your take,
I enjoyed
'cause
watching him.
He's playing this role. He's still as menacing as when he's,
Yeah.
being outrageous.
Mhm.
Like this cold version of him is just as like intimidating as his,
Yeah.
rowdy, killing, other version.
For sure.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Originally, when I was looking at this category, I was like, well, surely it's Pacino because he's like the
Like
one that takes away all. He's the reason why all of the funniest and most memorable scenes of the movie are what they are. Pacino. But thinking about beyond those scenes and what actually sticks with me beyond the runtime, it's like I said, the last hour.
Yeah.
And that's all focusing on the heartbreak inside De Niro's quiet performance. So I think I'm gonna go with De Niro for real MVP.
Okay.
So we're all going. We're all going to a big 3-man member.
I'll vote in the comments.
Yeah, I think I gotta go De Niro because that whole last hour could have just been boring old man crap, and just for some reason that's
so touching.
Yeah, it's really everything. Every single scene in that last hour just hit me so hard. I don't know what it was.
The picking the coffin was.
I thought that was funny when it was like, "Who's it for?" For me,
dude.
And he's like,
funny.
He's like, "Oh, which one do you like?"
yeah. But he was taken aback for a second.
Yeah.
I
then
like.
He's like, I'll take the green one.
Then he went to the salesman mode.
Yeah. All the scenes where like the scene when he was talking with Pesci in prison, and Pesci can't eat.
Dude.
Oh yeah,
like,
he's
what the
like,
heck,
just give me a bit. I don't got no teeth. That was really
the two scenes where I feel like De Niro is really working. The scene where, like we mentioned, with the priest, where he's praying and he's like, it's like I feel it, but I have no remorse. That, and then the scene where he's talking with his daughter, and the daughter is not giving him a second chance.
Yeah, that's rough.
So rough.
That wasn't Peggy though. That was his other daughter.
Yeah.
Actually, well, speaking of Peggy, she did pretty good. I'd say. I don't know who the actor was.
Anna Paquin.
Yeah,
the older one.
She didn't have very much screen time though, right?
Not a lot. Most of the scenes, she didn't even have that much dialogue.
She was selected in the Inside Scoop. She was selected specifically because of her nonverbal acting.
Oh, she's nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she can talk, I'm sure, but
like she.
Like her
sticks out
nonverbal performance.
I liked also
great.
her like place in the story. Most of these like mafia or like crime related films, they have a love interest, right? That eventually they get separated from at the end for their job or whatever reason. I like that there was no love interest in this movie, but it was kind of replaced / subbed out for the relationship he had with his daughter.
Oh, interesting.
So, and like how at the end of the day he still lost what he cared about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the love. It's not that whole like typical love interest arc is replaced by that that father-daughter dynamic.
Because really, like they don't even like really make us care about any of the wives.
No, none of the wives. He
the wives are not in there.
literally has 2 different wives, but it's focused on his relationship with his
interesting
daughter.
point.
Yeah,
smart.
It really is because it lays that seed in the beginning where like Peggy just feels off about the dad, even though she's a kid. It's like, where are you going? Go off to work, and it's like. Yeah. Even though the daughter's small, she's like not dumb.
Yeah.
And it ties that up at the end where like she just will not talk to him. That's so sad.
Yeah, I know like that last hour of De Niro is powerful for Seth because he was like on his knees crying. he was going through it emotionally.
All right, guys, let's transition into the Inside Scoop. Today we have a surprise pop quiz.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Ready, Seth?
Yeah.
Me
All
and
right,
you,
guys.
baby.
According to sources, how many times did Joe Pesci decline to work on The Irishman?
Oh, well, a lot at least.
A, 7, B, 50, C, 24.
He's a stubborn old man. I'm going 50.
Okay, you're going 50. I'm gonna need some help from our studio audience. Alexis and Sean, do y'all think the number of times that an actor refused to work on this movie, but then he eventually did it, is it 7?
It's A, 7, B, 50, or C, 24.
And you can't choose 50 because Sam chose 50. So 7 or 24. 24, Alexis? 24. Okay, give me 24.
Okay. Final answers?
Final answers locked in.
Okay. Sam is once again one that kept.
No!
According to sources, Pesci declined as many as 50 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I haven't
Dirty
made
Pesci.
an answer right.
I can't believe they kept trying to convince him after like the 10th attempt.
50 times.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And man, I can't believe that they actually got him out of retirement for this.
Huh?
Yeah.
I love Pesci in this movie.
Imagine this movie without Pesci.
It's so hard to
doesn't
see.
work.
Who would you
You need
replace
Pesci in
with?
this.
It's hard to see who you could replace him with. Yeah.
I don't think you like need him, but I think he adds a lot.
Yeah.
Like obviously,
I think it's not the same movie if you don't have
Agreed.
the crew back.
Yeah.
Because it's the big three back together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After so long, it had to have been at least 20 years since Pesci had acted.
Interesting.
I don't remember the last time.
Is Pesci still around?
Wait. No, not anymore. No.
He died.
No, he's still alive.
Yeah,
but
but obviously he doesn't act. But like,
He's retired.
yeah, I don't remember.
he's probably close to dying.
They're all
Sadly.
close to dying.
Yeah.
I feel like De Niro's still kicking it. He's still doing like interviews on like Fallon and stuff.
No, but he's hella old though.
Yeah, but like, I give De Niro at least 5 more years.
He is a new father. So
What?
wait, you didn't know that?
No.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
did not
he's a
know
new
that.
father.
Yeah,
he had a kid recently.
That man's living the dream.
Last year he had a new kid.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Living
How
life.
how old is the girl? 19.
I don't know.
She's probably like 25.
I don't wanna look that up.
Him and Leo are best buds because of that, right?
DiCaprio.
Did they like the 25-year-old
DiCaprio.
girls?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
You need to add that to the inside scoop. The age of
His wife.
De Niro's kid's
Or-
wife.
Yeah.
Or
Wow.
the baby mama. Yeah, so we have that. This is the first ever collaboration between Scorsese and Pacino, which feels wild.
Yeah, that
What?
didn't happen early in the career.
Oh shoot, yeah, because so far Pacino has worked with De Palma, Coppola, who else?
Lumet.
Lumet.
Yeah. And then
Interesting.
obviously Man.
Yeah, Michael
And then
Mann.
all the other films that we didn't see.
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
incorrect or crazy? I remember like Scorsese offering Pacino a role, but he denied it for not wanting to be typecasted, right?
Oh, that's
Oh.
that's De Palma.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
thinking of
De
the
Palma.
other
My
one.
bad.
Who I,
Or no,
I
no.
recently.
Wait, I think you're right. No, he declined the role of Jimmy Conway for Goodfellas.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in Goodfellas, but he turned it down.
Turn it down.
He also turned down The Departed 2006.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which that'll be coming up as season 2.
Who is that? Who does that?
The Departed,
Yeah.
Scorsese,
And
Jack Nicholson did the role in 2006.
oh, okay, I like him a lot. I recently learned that Del Palma directed the first Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah,
Which I did not expect.
yeah, that movie's gas.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Last thing. According to De Niro, director Scorsese had approached him for an entirely different aging hitman project.
Mhm.
And he read The Irishman as research, but then he convinced Scorsese to do that story instead, which is kind of funny. So he was doing research for a different film that they were working on, and then while he was reading The Irishman, he was like, you know what, we should do this instead, and then they just completely switched the
Wow.
project.
That's fun.
So the book is also called The Irishman.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it had like a different name. Do you know who wrote the book by chance?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I also kind of like, the whole Irishman stuff. Usually it's all Italian. Sometimes there's
Yeah.
like the Irish, like in Goodfellas, he wasn't completely Italian,
Yeah.
or whatever. But I like how at the beginning of the movie he was like, "How an Irishman like you learn how to
Yeah.
speak Italian?" Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
So-
I heard you paint houses is a cooler name, but the Irishman still makes sense as him
Mhm.
being like kind of like an outlier. in
Yeah,
the whole
like
mafia.
what's he doing here? Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Like, probably I heard you paint houses wouldn't be as good for like marketing stuff,
Mm.
but that sounds like a fascinating movie.
Yeah.
I'd love that name.
Because of the implication of like
Yeah.
painting houses being hits.
Yeah.
So that's why like one of the iconic lines is like the first appearance of Jimmy Hoffa. It's like Pacino picks up the phone and is like, "I heard you paint houses."
I see.
And then another part of the inside scoop is that what's it called? De Niro says he says like, yes, I paint houses, and he does his own. He says, I do my own carpentry too.
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
code for he cleans up his messes.
Ah,
cool.
okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Which is why I say that on the phone all the time.
Oh yeah, you do? Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah, I call him. I'm like, I heard you paint houses. He's like, yeah, I do my own carpentry as well.
Interesting. What'd y'all think of the just bringing up some topics? What'd y'all think of
Yeah.
the de-aging?
the DH. Okay.
Oh yes, I forgot to hit on that. It's a big topic.
For a few of our watchers, they really don't like that de-aging.
Friend of the pod, Richard.
Friend of the pod, Richard has expressed quite loudly of his
Distaste.
distaste towards.
I think he's jealous
de-aging.
because he wants to de-age himself.
It's crazy.
What a pull.
Honestly, I had no problems with the
No
de-aging.
problems,
Like
okay.
very little. I guess they looked slightly off, right? But at the same time, in the other movies, it was so low quality, or not so low quality,
Yeah.
but like it was hard to see them anyways.
I see.
What do you think, Elijah?
I didn't see any issues with it. Like, I thought it was great. I did not see. I guess like quality wise, I didn't see an issue.
I guess I could see at some points Richard has like it takes away from their facial expressions and the acting,
Sure.
right? But I didn't really see that much.
It's funny because whenever we started the movie, I was actually asking Seth like, so which one of them, like
Is
for
a real
example,
one?
is the elderly versions of them? Is that actually how they are when this movie was filmed, or was that also like instead of de-aged, you say what, like overaged? But I don't know.
Which was the real
Future
them?
age?
Was
aged? Yeah.
like was the adult them,
is
the
it-
old, or the
they're
old?
aged.
Old?
They're aged, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like they look really old.
At the end, surely they're aged. They don't actually look like that even now.
No,
Really?
At the very
Okay.
end, the epilogue.
Oh, like oh yeah. When
He's
when
sitting
De
in the
Niro's
wheelchair?
like,
Okay,
yeah,
I was
yeah,
worried.
sure.
Like I was like, do they look
Like
Well,
Pesci,
but that-
wouldn't be able to act if he looked like that.
to me they look like makeup and stuff, not like you think that was like CGI stuff.
No. The
Yeah,
end is
like-
definitely makeup. Yeah, which
okay.
looks great.
because that makes sense. The de-aging stuff is obviously like
harder to
technical
do
stuff.
than aging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For aging, you're gonna put wrinkles.
Yeah, I saw no issues with it. I thought it was cool. I thought it added to the story.
I
What
thought
about you?
there was only one scene where I thought the aging looks bad. I think
Okay.
the worst scene in the movie is I don't remember who missed the scene, but it's when Peggy says that she was like, or Peggy's mom says that Peggy was like, someone touched her at a grocery store. Like someone hit her or something.
Oh yeah,
someone pushed her.
De Niro comes in and like brings him out, and he's like stepping on his like hands, and I feel like you could see that he's like moving 20 years older than he actually is.
Yeah, he like wasn't forceful. I noticed that.
That's the only scene where I thought it looked bad. Otherwise, I thought the de-aging. I was observing that because that's also a big conversation point with this film. Is like there are people that have strong opinions about de-aging, the use of de-aging. I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah, so
I don't have any issues with it.
Not me either. And of course, we weren't watching it on the big screen.
We were watching
like,
it just
a pretty
like,
dang big TV, and there was no issues with it. What's the last movie that you guys have seen like recently that's used de-aging?
I have no idea. I feel like a lot of movies use them now just because it's so commonplace.
Yeah. Did they use any in Killers?
No, I don't think so.
No. Not any big ones. Yeah, because I remember seeing a movie recently and they used it, but I can't remember what it was. So interesting.
This whole thing goes back in line with you talking about how it's like a goodbye, but also ushering the next chapter with it being like streaming movie, and also Scorsese being open to using like
de-aging,
like liberal uses of like technology.
Was Scorsese very like practical in his other movies? Like,
well, I mean, all of his films in general are incredibly like practical and grounded. Like, I can't imagine Scorsese ever doing a fantasy
in Casino. You know, the dummy when the car explodes.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
That broke so many boundaries in the industry right there.
Wait, was this the movie where they broke the fourth wall?
They do that in Cape Fear as well.
Okay. What was the scene where he broke the fourth wall in this? Do you remember?
Oh, you're thinking of when Pesci looks kind of like almost into the camera talking about something. I forgot what it was.
I thought that was kind of weird, interesting, because it was the only time that he ever broke the fourth. I think it was like he was looking directly into the camera.
Well, I think technically you could count all the interview scenes as breaking the fourth wall when he's in the nursing home, because you never see who he's talking to.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It's like if he's talking to a camera.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's like the movie's supposed to be like we're sitting down in the nursing home with him, and he's telling us about the whole story. It's like Scorsese sitting us down and being like, "This is what my career is like." Yeah. And then you see all of them, pulling out the greatest hits one last time.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, let's go into the Willem Dafoe Award for Who Stole the Movie.
Stole the movie. All right, for me it was the guy from Adolescence. Remember
Stephen F. Graham, I think.
Banger.
Tony Pro,
dude. Yeah,
that was Tony Pro.
The little guy.
Yeah,
15 minutes late.
he stole it from me. I think every scene that he was in, he brought the energy that was needed. He brought like the vibe that they wanted to depict him as. It's like in the meeting as like a, he has power, but he's like chill. I think he was great.
What about you, Sam?
For me, I don't know. That's kind of a hard pick. I would say probably Peggy, just because she did such a great job with she did such a great job with no dialogue. Yeah. Like, well, actually, even the kid actor when they're like looking at what is it? De Niro and Pesci, like they're at the park, they're on a bench, right? And then the kid Peggy is just kind of like looking at them, even when they like get called over, and it's just, I think all the actors for Peggy did great. Yep.
Yeah. Funnily enough, so my answer was also Stephen F. Graham, and then I was like, okay, Elijah's gonna see Stephen F. Graham. What was my alternative?
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, Anna Paquin's my alternative. So yeah, those two I would agree with are members that stole the movie for me. But one last thing, the guy who played Angelo, Harvey Keitel.
Yeah.
Who played Angelo?
Absolutely.
Harvey Keitel, the good glasses, very early in the movie. It's the guy that owned the place that De Niro bombs.
I know exactly.
That owned the Jew owners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Harvey
like,
Keitel.
He did a great job.
He's from
A Reservoir and
Pulp.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's legendary in his own right, and him appearing in this was just a great little cameo. So that definitely was a moment that stuck out to me.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of great actors just in general.
Pool. Yeah.
All right. What is y'all's Roger Deakins shot of the film?
Sam, you got anything?
Do I have anything? I guess one that just sticks out to probably everybody because it's the last shot of the movie.
Yes.
Literally, it's from the hallway, doors slightly ajar, and you could just see De Niro looking at it, sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
Almost lifeless, right? And it's just really depressing.
What about you, Elijah? Any shots stuck out to you?
Honestly, not right now. What do you have?
For me, this is my favorite shot of the film. One of my favorite shots in Scorsese's filmography. Not only because of like that devastation that you feel of like death approaching, but also because of the motif of doors being left slightly open that's already established during the film.
Yeah.
Jimmy Hoffa also left his like door kind of open, and I mean like I don't know in a literal sense why he did that, but to me like that specifically evokes like the resistance of like getting the door like closed on you, of like finality is like a big theme of this movie. And that little creak that you're peeking through, it's just door open, right? But like that spoke volumes to me.
Yeah, I really like that one. Another one that kind of sticks out, it was like frozen on this shot too, when they assassinate that one politician.
Oh yeah.
And then they like have that one frozen shot where he's like getting the gun taken away from him. Yeah, so that's a pretty good one, I think.
And then secondary, another shot that stuck out to me, and we kind of mentioned this earlier, but it's in the big dinner event, and it's just De Niro like staring off.
Ooh,
yeah.
And he has like this 1,000-yard stare of like him like realizing what's happening.
Good pull.
Great one.
Yeah. Any last shots?
No.
All right. We have a category that we've been wanting to introduce for a while now.
Okay.
The Thelma Schoonmaker Best Crew Award.
Yeah.
I have 3 categories, or 3 nominees.
Yeah.
Number 1, Robbie Robertson for the score.
Yeah.
Okay. The harmonica theme.
Okay.
Incredible. The soundtrack is great, but that's the main contribution there.
Yeah.
Rodrigo Prieto for the cinematography.
Okay.
Right. Or the VFX crew for the de-aging stuff. What do y'all have for the Thelma Schoonmaker
That's an
Award?
interesting
Let's talk about it.
Third pick. I really enjoyed the score, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about it because we just brought it up right now.
Yeah.
But I think it fit the movie so well. There was no like big abrupt upbeat score. It was all very calm, almost monotone, right? So I enjoyed it. What do you?
If you hadn't answered that, I was gonna say score. The score was the easily the best thing on this movie. Because you said that, I'm gonna go with the de-aging crew, because I thought this movie would not be the same without them. Obviously, you can do like makeup and stuff, but I don't think with the amount of film that was involved in this and how many jumps and all that, like, we need to establish how old they are in that. I thought Thelma, or like the editing.
Yeah, I thought Thelma would be a nominee for.
I actually thought it was kind of tame compared to the other stuff that we saw.
It is the least one of the lesser in terms of flashiness.
Yeah, and which is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
like, it's great.
The editing is silent in this.
Yeah, it's just not stuff like Raging Bull and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, I think the reason why we might feel that way as far as like the editing is like, if you look at Goodfellas and Casino, like the language of that, it's like whipping you and tossing you around.
Yeah.
But in The Irishman, the visual language is like you're really sitting in these scenes, and like let's say for example the scene when that Jimmy Hoffa's about to get taken out, it's like there's a discomfort in how long we're sitting in the car, how long we're waiting.
They're taking you for a ride. Yeah, like a nice slow,
Yeah, like it completely defeats the purpose if this film was edited and shot and paced like Casino. Because then
for
like,
sure.
you have no time to sit in that like tension and anxiety.
I feel like that was the whole movie, right? Kind of just like a trip, right? Nothing too intense. And that's how it starts off too. They're kind of just going on a long trip. So that's what this whole movie was.
Yeah. For me, I'd have to agree Robert Robertson for the score. That harmonica theme, just so good. I could listen to that for hours. Ironically, it's like mainly like a soundtrack, and then like the Irishman theme that's played over and over again throughout the whole film.
Sure.
But Robbie Robertson for me, the first winner for the Thelma Schoonmaker Award.
This soundtrack reminds me of like this is the harmonica version of Taxi Driver. With that like sweet sax, like this is the harmonica version of it.
For me, like the wistfulness of it reminded me of like old Western films, like old Sergio Leone like Westerns.
This actually, it was interesting to me because my girlfriend's great uncle, his name was Earl, and I met him right before he passed away for like a couple months. And whenever I was in his house, he would always have like Alexa, like the Amazon feature thing, play like this type of music in the background. And this guy was very old. He was like 95 or something. Wow. And he would sit back in his chair and he would just like look around and look out at the window and listening to this music. And it just like, it hit such a correlation in my mind because this dude is like literally lying in a nursing home, like sitting back, like he's lived his whole life and he's just like taking in the music. I thought that was very
freaking love movies, man.
Very realistic.
So sick.
Yeah.
Oh man, that harmonica theme, every time I play it, I was just like in there. Such a good melody. Love the tone on that harmonica. Good stuff. Next, I wanted to ask y'all. We're back in the doubleheader category.
Okay.
What movie do you pair with this?
Oh, good question.
Which is rough because it's already a 3.5 hour long movie.
Yeah.
What y'all got? Take your time. Take your time.
I mean, you could say Heat, kind of, right?
Yeah.
As a like double goodbye.
Yeah.
But if I had to pair one of these, it'd be like I'd have to pick the flashiest mafia film I could pick. So it'd be like Casino or Goodfellas.
What about you, Elijah?
Goodfellas. Yeah.
For me, definitely give me Godfather 1.
Godfather 1.
Whoa, interesting.
I want to see the start and the end. If that makes sense.
I think a funny caveat to this is y'all are answering it in the context of our like little made up film canon. Yeah. Like treating it like it's an official like AFI list or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like something that your buddy from high school made up.
I just think of like Pacino's getting into the mafia world.
Oh, that's a good point.
And then leaving the mafia world.
Like
right?
Ham as a baby and then
Yeah.
accepting the role as Don at the end.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
Ham. Oh man, that's good.
That's actually
I
pretty
think
good.
that would be a good.
I like
was
that.
gonna say Heat because there's so many similarities, but I would definitely say that.
I wrote down here easily Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
Okay.
Because they're both mafia. It's the height of Scorsese's career, Goodfellas.
Oh,
It's the trifecta of Scorsese, De Niro, Pesci.
Yeah.
And these films in many ways are just in conversation with one another as far as topic and just The Irishman looking back at Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Obviously Casino is also mentioned in this, but Goodfellas is straight mafia in the same place that The Irishman is.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd go with. That'd be a rough night though. Like
Yeah.
That'd be a rough night. Yeah, it's
That's
almost
long.
like you have to pair it with like an hour and a half comedy or something to break up with like how tense this is.
that would be funny if your poll was like, I'm watching War of the Millers after this.
Yeah,
Watching Step
Irishman and Grown Ups 2 or something real light.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's hilarious. This is kind of a rough one. I think usually I like bringing in the Disney cash grab category,
Yeah.
but would we agree that it's like impossible to follow this movie up?
Follow it up.
Yeah,
What do y'all
hard
think?
one. Yeah, like the Irishman 2, he's still alive. Like I don't know. This would be a
how
tough
would you
one.
follow this up?
The reason why, in my opinion, this is like a hard one to follow up is that it's. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Well, me and Sam just touched feet.
Got the
I
hey
think
dudes.
it's in the first place, it's not a movie that's like out there in terms of engagement and stuff. Like you're watching old guys die. Like it's barely watchable in terms of like entertainment engagement the first time. Like who's gonna want to watch an adaptation for the second time? What do y'all think?
You know what?
Uh-oh.
Just because it's a category, right?
Sam's going to pull out. Here we go. Let's get it.
It won't make much sense, right? But
Oh.
I just kind of want to be like, this is a goodbye, right?
Uh-huh.
This movie, kind of, right?
Yeah.
I want the next film to be a rebirth almost. I want. Elijah's like, oh,
Wait
no.
a minute.
I want young De Niro, but it's obviously different actor. I feel
Uh-huh.
like we couldn't get De Niro
Yeah.
since this is a rebirth. We
Really?
need we need a whole.
Put in like double the amount of money in the de-aging. Like we're not only going to de-age De Niro on screen, we're going to de-age him in real life.
it takes like 10 years to make because they have to do so much stuff.
But this is a rebirth. New actors,
Yeah.
same like mafia type concept though.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be De Niro's role, Frank, right? But
Yeah.
as he was, in the war, right? And him, interacting with all the Italians, seeing how the
Ooh.
mob world worked from his military standpoint.
That's kind of
Yeah.
gas. Like specifically the military stuff is cool.
I was actually going to agree with you, like if they had to, which like out
If
of all movies,
they had
like
to.
why are you picking the film that's literally all about finality?
Yeah.
Right.
Whoa.
But I was thinking like it's definitely have to be like a prequel regarding like,
Frank.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I wouldn't want to make this, right? Just because of the category, though. I'm
Yeah.
making something. Like,
And
I'm trying to make the best I can.
And I guess also this question doesn't even make sense because we're treating it like we can turn it into IP. The IP is what happened in real life. Like the
Yeah.
IP is like Jimmy
True.
Hoffa is a real
That's true.
person.
I mean, it was a real war, though,
Like it would
so.
just be like a Jimmy Hoffa
Yeah.
biopic.
The
right?
fact that this happened in real life is crazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wild stuff.
several of these that we saw that are in the series. To me, it's crazy that they happen.
Yeah, a lot of them,
and
like,
it's
are
hard to-
based off.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to remember what's like real and what's not. But most of them are real. Most of them are true stories or like adapted stories,
Inspired from
Yeah.
or whatever.
Inspired.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah. I'm really glad that we've been able to like talk so to this movie because of how long it is, and just I don't know, it being the last of the series and all that. We're saying goodbye to the Mafia films.
Coming into it, I was expecting not gonna lie, I was expecting something more like very much you like it or you don't like it, like strong choices,
Even more divisive.
Divisive is the right word, because I know a couple people, I can think of 3 people that like don't like this movie a lot. Now I didn't know the reasons why, and now I do, but I just don't really see how you could like dislike it, other than in the aging. To me, the aging is like you can't even dislike the movie because of the aging. I get that there's a lot of it, so if you don't like it, then you don't like a lot of the movie.
Yeah,
but the message is so strong that I don't see how you can dislike it.
Yeah, I agree.
think another reason is just like it's super long and it's like old men talking for 3 hours.
Sure.
Yeah,
but
it's awesome.
I don't. It's not less
We like
engaging
it.
than some of the other stuff that we've watched, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I love the simplicity of this. It really is just 3 hours of conversations of like people sitting across from each other talking.
Mhm.
It's like table conversations for 3 hours. Yeah.
So since we're winding down season 1, can I hear y'all's top? Let's go like top 5 and bottom like two or 3.
Sam wanted to talk about. He was like, I want to break down the whole. He wanted to rank everything
because this is, just to be clear for the viewers, this is like the finale. Like this
Grand
is
finale
the end
season
of
one.
season
We're gone.
1.
No, I'm kidding.
I like this as like a capsule of like my first time like showing y'all stuff into movies, like a first like little tour guide of
Yeah.
like a part of film.
This has been very fun. Thanks for curating this list.
Yes, of course. And thank y'all for watching all these films. I was talking to Richard about how like I think it's funny that like a few years ago he told me that I had a couple of friends who would like hear me be like, "You want to watch this 4-hour like gangster film from 1980?" And then just like, "Yeah, sure." Like what?
Sorry.
Like you got me
To watch like Once Upon a Time in America, and I just have a couple of buddies just like, "Yeah, sure, I'm down." Like, what?
No argument.
Yeah, no, like 4 hours of your life. Yeah, sure.
No, like come on. guys.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah, and then they're gonna pod about it while I'm studying for an exam.
Yeah,
Like that's great.
crazy.
What a life I live.
Oh yeah, you were even there.
Yeah, I wasn't even there to
Yeah.
pod about it with. I wasn't even there to talk about it with.
That movie
y'all.
was so good though.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
love
okay.
that.
So Sam, can I hear your top 5 and then like do your bottom 3?
My top 5.
So
Oh.
just be clear, viewers. These are the 16 films that we watched in our
Mhm.
Mafia series that Seth curated for us. Seth.
Yeah.
I'm
Season
sorry,
1,
Sam.
De Niro v. Pacino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The showdown.
So top 5
Yeah.
or okay.
Give me your top 5.
I'd say Godfather at 1.
Okay.
Same.
Right. Then I'm gonna be honest with you. I really liked Casino.
I think
over a lot
I
of
really
these.
like Mean Streets.
You weren't even there.
Yeah. So
Join our movie fault. Our movie
Godfather,
club.
Casino, Goodfellas,
Okay.
Dog Day Afternoon. That one,
Oh,
that one stuck
okay.
out to me.
All right.
Wait, you have Casino over Goodfellas?
Yeah.
Wow. You really
Whoa.
like. Both of us really
I-
like that.
That was my first time
Wow.
watching it.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Wow. Oh, I guess the poker aspect.
Oh, sorry.
Over.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Sorry, and I put Dog Day Afternoon, but actually it would be Heat, then Dog Day Afternoon.
Gotcha.
So that's my top 5.
So your top 5 is Godfather, Casino, Goodfellas, Heat, and then Dog Day.
Mhm.
Wow.
And can I hear your bottom 3?
My bottom 3.
Or could you just give me your least favorites?
My bottom 3 be Cape Fear,
Okay.
right? And actually, I can't say anything on Mean Streets.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah. You
right?
can't, yeah.
So yeah, it'd be Cape Fear,
Okay.
Carlito's Way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And not because those are bad films.
Not because it's a bad film, but
Yeah,
just
we-
because
we literally hand selected like the greatest crime
Yeah,
films
so it's
from
like, you
these
know,
great actors.
then I would say Serpico.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Seth, can I hear yours?
All right, I'll start with bottom 3.
Yeah.
Mean Streets. I always want to pay respect to the foundation of the films that I love.
Uh-huh.
Uncut Gems, Honora, Good Time. So many films
Yeah.
would not exist without Mean Streets. But
Yeah.
another rough watch.
Yeah. No joke.
I
remember us
rewatched it.
talking through this movie like for like an hour.
Yeah.
You rewatched it?
Yeah, but that was a rewatch.
Oh
when
yeah, for
we
you,
watched
yeah.
it together.
I thought you meant you rewatched it afterwards.
No. I think the last like 20-30 minutes are genuinely phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I think the film, the plotlessness of it is very hazy and rough. Obviously, it's inspired by like these like on the ground French films, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Mean
glad
Streets
that we.
bottom.
Sorry, just a side note on Mean
Yeah.
Streets. I'm glad we like stuck through it because after we watched that because that was our first, apart from The Godfathers.
Yeah.
That was our first one. And I was like, This is gonna be a rough scene. If I have to watch 16 movies of this is gonna be a little rough.
But I mean, I had to throw it in there. Like, there's some people that think that Mean Streets is one of his best films, and it's like the introduction to De Niro. It's Harvey Keitel was in this.
Yeah.
And this is Mean Streets is like Scorsese's breakout.
Yeah.
So it'd be wrong. And also, I know I'm thinking about it. I just realized that's so crazy that Keitel shows up in The Irishman. That's like such a throwback.
Yeah.
He's like all the way back.
Full circle.
Yeah. Because Mean Streets came out 1973.
That's
wow.
crazy.
What a pull. So Mean Streets at the bottom.
Okay.
Cape Fear.
Yeah.
Great movie. Great movie. But not up there for me. And then next, Carlito's Way.
Okay.
So same bottom three minus.
Because I probably would put Mean Streets if I did that. I joined right after you guys watched that.
Yeah.
But I did watch all the Godfather movies before.
And this is kind of surprising. Because The Godfather Part 3, I watched it. The first times I watched it, I did not like it. I thought it was incredibly disappointing. When I watched it with you, I was just like, I kind of like this movie. Like, I love Andy Garcia in The Godfather Part 3. Like, that probably matters more to me than even the third act of Carlito's Way, which is tight. And also, it's The Godfather, so I have the baggage of the first two films.
Sure.
I could see that being like below Carlito's Way or Cape Fear, but we'll leave it out of the bottom three.
Okay. Yeah.
Top 5.
Yeah. Hit me.
Number 5, Goodfellas.
Okay.
Yep. This is arguably Scorsese's best. Godfather Part 2 at number 4.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Part 2. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Godfather Part 2 is the best film in the whole series. I think it's arguably the greatest film of all time.
That's a good take.
Of all time?
But I feel like it's arguable between 1 and 2. Yeah.
Like, it's just hard for me to separate like my favoritism towards any films that I consider the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
But Godfather Part 2, like if I'm delivering like my coldest possible take, Godfather Part 2 is probably the greatest film ever made, right? Like,
okay.
2001 is up there, right? Like, we could talk about that for hours, but number 4, Godfather Part 2. Number 3, Taxi Driver.
Okay.
De Niro, the score from Herman is maybe the greatest score ever written, right? The cinematography is gorgeous, the neon lights. Number 2, Heat.
Yeah.
Heat. And then number 1, because of the staying power and it being low-key the greatest film of all time, also, The Godfather.
The Godfather. Woo! Godfather 1,
right.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, let me spit you mine. We have a lot of similarities. So my bottom 3...
Except for you having Taxi Driver and Goodfellas below the
He will
top
not be
10.
budging on that.
My bottom 3 is the exact same as you.
Oh, yeah.
Mean Streets, last, Cape Fear, Carlito's Way. And it's not because they're bad movies, except Mean Streets.
Like, Carlito's Way was actually, like, freaking amazing.
Adios, Counselor.
It was just not nearly as, like, thoughtful as the rest of this, right? Okay, so my top 5, the notable differences is that Taxi Driver and Goodfellas aren't even close to my top 5.
Oh. Anyway.
That's major difference. But Taxi Driver wasn't on your top 5, right?
No.
But Goodfellas was. So that's one difference between our lists. But on all our lists, so number 5 is Casino for me, which you had that.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Casino is my number 6. And also, I could see that being 5 also. Like, Goodfellas and Casino go hand in hand.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
Number 4 is Heat. We all have Heat on our top 5.
I'm glad y'all loved it. You know how sad I would have been if y'all were like,
yeah. Number 3 is Once Upon a Time in America,
Wow.
which both of you do not have.
I did not have. I did enjoy the film a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's just some things about it that weren't as like grand for me.
I think rewatch value is considerably lower compared to the other films.
True. Very true. Yeah. Number 2 is The Godfather 1. So that's on all of our top 5s.
Yeah, love The Godfather.
And then it's funny you were saying that you think The Godfather 2 is like the greatest or the best film. That's mine in number 1. I see that as my favorite and probably like one of the best films I've seen. My favorite in this whole series.
Talk to us more about like what that movie means to you, just regardless of like technicality.
Honestly, it's been a while, so I can't like tell that much. But I just remember Godfather 1 is when I was introduced to the ideas. Like, this was the first Mafia film I saw. And then Godfather 2 felt like the mastering of those ideas. Everything was bigger, better. Of course, I like Marlowe's performance or Brando's performance in the first film. And I love him. But I just don't see... I think that 2 is a much grander, but better film all the way around.
Just with De Niro and Pacino.
And I think Pacino is... Pacino's role in Part 2 is it's probably the greatest male performance captured on screen ever. Ever. It's so cold and incredible.
I just remember it being like from front to back, just instantly, like stuff was happening the whole time, and it was very engaging. Yeah. It was just incredible.
I think from a subjective standpoint, and like obviously like it's still a masterpiece, but I think it's just harder to follow. Like I've seen Godfather Part 2 3 times, and I still think that it's not as digestible as 1, because I feel like 1 has that it's like really simple and stripped down. There's a lot of like stuff and like like strings.
Because there's the whole thing like when they go to, I don't know where they went, somewhere out of the country, and then there's the whole thing with the politician, right?
It's just like the stuff with like Hyman and Roth, and then
Hyman and Roth. There you go.
And the other guy. There's like I definitely understand like the emotional beats. Like you get like, oh, he betrayed this and this whatever, but I think like to actually like describe the nitty gritty of the plot is more difficult for me with 2, which is not necessarily like an issue, but it just makes Godfather Part 1 more like it's easier for me to connect with that one, and also Brando is just awesome.
Yeah,
so much fun.
Can't get it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Great list.
The ending.
Yeah, I just want to say I really enjoyed this journey with you boys.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
And we're not done yet, because I wanted to ask y'all the big question. Let's get into it. De Niro or Pacino? The showdown.
Interesting.
Who we got?
Sammy, you want to go first?
He's thinking.
All right, then I'll go.
Yeah.
For me, it's Pacino.
Talk about it.
So, I don't think it's particularly that close. Now,
whoa!
Obviously, they're 2 great actors.
Wow.
But every movie, like, give me Pacino in all the movies that he's in over all of the ones that
over that De Niro's in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I just like his characters more, because a lot of them are like brash and over the top and loud. It also, I think I talked about this at the very beginning of the series, but in my mind it hurts that I see De Niro, since I started watching movies and he's been in the current ones. It hurts in my head that De Niro is like an old dude. Like I had fresh eyes whenever I saw all of these Pacino, and I've got to see him grow, as opposed to De Niro. I like saw him as old off the bat. I think that probably helped it in my mind give Pacino the edge.
Because you saw like De Niro like Meet the Fockers, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
whatever.
He's just old, and so like Pacino by far for me.
Okay.
Sam?
Yeah. So I'd have to agree with you, Pacino, but it's mainly because I also did see De Niro in Goodfellas, like way before we started doing all this, right?
Okay,
when I watched Goodfellas in high school.
Yeah.
Right? De Niro was a great actor.
Yeah.
Right? I love him. But Pacino was so fresh, so captivating, right?
Yeah.
I just loved him. And I loved how much of a different role he could play when he wanted to. A serious, calm, pragmatic man, or just off the wall Scarface. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, De Niro has the same capabilities. You have Ace, right, and then you have Jimmy Conway, who's over here, performing hits like every 5 minutes. But I just feel like there's such a wide range with Pacino.
I kind of feel like De Niro is kind of more of a versatile actor. I think that they both can play. They're both amazing, but I see him as more of a versatile actor, and I think that I could see how somebody would give him the edge because of that too.
Okay.
So both of y'all go Pacino?
Yeah.
Even though Godfather is arguably my favorite film, I'm easily De Niro.
Okay.
Yeah, I think as far as like the collaboration between Scorsese and that like consistency, I love that. Like Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Casino. That Scorsese quadrilogy starring De Niro is just unmatched.
Bangers.
You love that they were just hits.
I think that Pacino in 2 is probably the best performance of all time, but then you have like Taxi Driver De Niro. That's to me again like arguably the greatest male performance of all time. And then him in Raging Bull, like the transformation that he goes through just within that film,
he's great.
Is absurd. And then the presence that he has in Goodfellas and Casino, with like not being as much of a loudmouth, but still just like when I think of De Niro, it's like this like quiet, like domineering force in these films. Like for example, the shot of him smoking the cigarette in Goodfellas as the camera is just on him and the music is just thunderous. I love that. And then I prefer his character in Heat, and then he's in Once Upon a Time. De Niro is my favorite between the two.
I think part of the reason why Pacino is for me is because I didn't particularly love the 2 important films as much as most people do. Taxi Driver and Goodfellas, which are both his films.
Yeah.
I didn't connect with those as much.
That's a good point.
But also like we're talking about like De Niro and Pacino, bro. Give me Pesci, bro.
Really, Pesci is the winner.
He's my goat.
Yeah.
He stole our hearts.
Yeah, to your point, like in the same way, like Serpico and Dog Day, I love those films, but I don't, and even Scarface, I don't gravitate to those nearly as much as the Scorsese De Niro projects.
I really like Dog Day for some reason. Yeah.
It's great, but yeah.
Would y'all consider, like Seth, for you, would you consider De Niro and Pacino as the greatest actors of all time, or up there with the greatest actors of all time?
To say that they're not up there is silly, but there are some performances that are arguably better than these that we're gonna see in season 2.
Okay, remind me who you think is the greatest actor of all time. I remember you mentioned a name to me, and he's in like, I haven't seen like any of the movies.
Let's go with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, him.
Which is like the generic answer, but when y'all watch Daniel Day-Lewis, you'll see.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. I can't wait to show y'all his films. Oh,
Sam,
man.
do you have a opinion on like the greatest actor?
Yeah,
not favorite, but greatest.
Or greatest? Yeah, it's
Michael Cera
too. Yeah, actually, it's
John C. Reilly. He's mine.
That's John C. Reilly in Talladega Nights is the greatest male performance ever captured on screen.
It's a hard pick between Jonah Hill or Michael Cera.
That's hilarious, bro.
So, I mean, I don't really know too many actors like by name, right? Like I've seen actors, I'm like, oh, they're a great actor, right? But I feel like ones that stick out to me, like every time I see them in a movie, are Christian Bale and Giancarlo Esposito for my top 2 actors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christian Bale's like a really good actor.
Yeah. Bale, Joaquin Phoenix. We'll get into more
Joaquin
of his
Phoenix, yeah.
performance.
I'm excited to see Daniel Day-Lewis because I haven't seen him in anything.
Oh, yeah.
And the hype I've heard is atrocious. It's just like
the hype is atrocious.
like super high.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually coming out of retirement because someone that he's related to, is it his son? Someone he's related to is making a movie, and he came out of retirement for it.
Oh wow!
Because the last movie he made with PTA famously just made him retire. Like it was just that big on his shoulders. So
what do you mean that big on his shoulders?
Like I mean I don't. It's not like I talked to him. I don't know. I don't.
You mean
remember.
like it was so much work that
I
he
guess
retired?
So.
Really interesting.
Yeah, like the movie just like ended his career. Like
Really?
and I can't wait till we get to Phantom Thread.
Yeah.
What a movie. But
Interesting.
Season 2.
Yeah, season 2.
Yeah.
It's been one hell of a ride for season 1, the Mafia films. I think it's gonna be really funny to go into season 2 and watch something that doesn't involve Italians talking for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And like hits.
Because we've been in that room every Thursday for 4 months.
Yeah.
Just watching. Wait, no, it was 16 films, right?
Yeah.
So like around 4 months.
Yeah.
Every Thursdays after work, I look forward to the Mafia movie. So it'll be a nice change of pace. I'm excited to see what else Seth has lined up for us.
Elijah will be like, where are the accents? You know?
Yeah, no more subtitles.
Yeah. So to sneak peek into season 2, we're still gonna maintain the new releases every once in a while.
Yeah.
But
speaking of so Seth is gonna leave for about a month, and me and Sam are gonna do some new releases. So viewers be on the lookout for that. We're probably gonna do 28 years later and another one. So just while Seth is gone, we'll hold down the fort a bit.
Yep.
Absolutely. While we're capping off the end of season 1, looking into season 2, I'm definitely thinking we're gonna go into a much wider range. I'm actually gonna try to like actively avoid Mafia films, obviously.
Thank you.
Which it's not like that there are that many other ones left,
Yeah.
because I would have just included them in the series.
Yeah, we did them all.
But we're gonna hit The Dark Knight first.
Awesome.
Yeah.
excited.
The reason why is that it's because it's the second highest on IMDb. Often considered the greatest comic book film of all time. And it's going to be a nice segue from season 1 to season 2 because it's essentially the comic book version of Heat.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You've
gonna
been
be
glazing
fun.
this movie for a long time.
Yeah. Absolutely glazing on it.
Which movie?
The
Dark Knight.
Oh, well, we'll get into it. Because I'm actually, I'll zag on that, but,
You're
sneak peek for the
you
viewers.
haven't seen this movie. You haven't seen like the greatest piece of... No,
Well,
I'm kidding.
because it's wild that I haven't seen The Dark
Yeah.
Knight.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Also, that's just popular in general. So.
Yeah. I'm going to try to hit, like, all the... I can't believe you haven't seen that. So we're going to get into, like... going to watch Star Wars A New Hope.
Dude. Pray for me.
I like how, because this movie was also catered to Elijah and Sam happened to be really interested in it. Now we're gonna get some wild takes. It's
Yeah.
gonna be. I'm gonna actively try to find like stuff that.
The foreign films. Yeah.
We'll wait a little bit on that.
So some Japanese foreign films. Short forms.
In season 2, we are gonna hit Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, 4-hour
Cool.
long black and white
Yeah.
epic stuff.
I might have to go on vacation that week.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Those chairs and 4-hour movies
Yeah.
are the
No,
best.
I'm looking forward to widening our variety. Some things we have coming up in season 2. There's a soundboard.
Oh yeah,
Soundboard's coming in hot.
That
season
will
2.
be done for episode 1.
Okay.
Of season 2.
And then this doesn't pertain to the podcast at all, but we're gonna buy some like bean bags or like something so that we're more comfortable when we watch the movies, because we watch them on hard folding chairs and it's very uncomfortable.
Please send us some money if you can for funding those.
For season 2, the Instagram will be up and running because I have a month to work on it.
That's great.
What else are we gonna? Is there anything else that we want to change? We like our set, right?
Oh yeah, we're keeping
I
this.
say keep the chalkboard.
Yeah.
We might like add a few small things there.
Yeah. Oh, jingles. Well, that's soundboard. Yeah.
I want to include as many guests as possible.
Yeah.
So keep the
we're
guests
gonna have
coming.
hella guests on season 2.
A sneak peek, or at least a little teaser here. We're gonna have Alexis on for Mamma Mia.
Woo!
2008.
Yeah.
2008.
Yeah.
We're gonna get all the friend of the pods on it.
Yeah.
Beebs.
Saeed. Yeah. So I don't know. I might call season 2 the list of shame.
The list of shame.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because it's shame that we haven't seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, season 2 list of shame.
Yeah.
And are there any films in y'all's list of shame that y'all feel like we need to hit? Are there any that are just like, I can't
I
believe
feel like
I haven't seen this?
Me and you have gone through a lot of them, like just adding them. Elijah, any?
Well, I can think of tons.
Tons?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've literally only seen movies that come out in 2022, 23, 24. But one that off the top of my head is Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah, I don't know if we have that on the list, but that's a great
I can
movie.
just think of a ton of movies.
It's on the list because I've already talked to Ronnie, who is the pastor here at the church, and Elijah's dad.
Yeah.
He will be on for season 2.
He will be
Shawshank
on.
Redemption.
Woo!
Ronnie
He's gonna be on
Morgan.
the pod.
So we're already
Ronnie appearance.
teasing all the upcoming guests of the
That's
show.
gonna season 2 is gonna be heat.
Yeah.
And also season 2 might be forever, right?
Here's what I
Possibly?
think what we're gonna do is a
Maybe.
really
That'd
long
be
season
funny,
2,
Yeah.
and then go back into a canon.
Okay, yeah, I like that. But like season 2 is gonna be a while, right?
Yeah.
Most likely.
I don't want in season 2 till Heat 2. All right.
Yo, actually, that could work. That could work out. Actually,
I'm thinking we could do season 3, DiCaprio v. Damon. Ooh.
count me in, bro. That sounds great.
Yeah, could
Yeah.
do that. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll
It's
see.
still a long while till then.
Oh yeah.
Other things
Long while.
in the pipeline. We're gonna hit perhaps Citizen Kane.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. The Shining.
Yeah, I need to see that.
Can't believe y'all haven't seen those.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
All right.
Elijah, thoughts?
I'm excited.
Sure, buddy. Well, okay. Which ones are you most excited for and least excited for?
Most excited for Shawshank. I'm really
Okay.
excited for that movie. Excited for the Batman stuff, The Dark Knight. Most least excited for is definitely Star Wars.
I can see
Lord
that.
of the Rings. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm hopeful for Lord of the Rings.
Hopeful. And then I can't wait to show y'all the 2009 masterpiece by Quentin Tarantino, Inglourious Bastards.
Oh yeah, all the Tarantino. Yeah. Are we gonna do any other Tarantino?
Sam brought up a good point, which is that we have to cover Pulp Fiction eventually.
Oh yeah.
And you've seen it already,
I've seen it, yeah.
but Sam hasn't.
Okay.
What do you think about throwing that in there?
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'll watch anything twice.
Might throw in Kill Bill.
Anything.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So those are some like popular like modern masterpieces,
Yeah.
like American filmmakers. And then I'm thinking like sprinkled in between, gotta throw in like some crazy pulls. Like I'm gonna throw in like Harakiri,
Okay.
Come and See, like these like foreign like letterboxed films.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I
And
like
then eventually, of course, also the Before trilogy.
I love it.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm really. Those are some of your favorite movies. I know that.
Uh-huh.
One of them is in your top 4.
Mm-hmm. Before Midnight, which is a hot take, but we'll get into that when we get
I'm really excited for this.
The trilogy.
This is gonna be awesome, guys.
Yeah.
So many great movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's season 1, De Niro v. Pacino.
It's a wrap. Wow.
Wrap.
The end of a ride, gents.
It's been an honor.
Wow. Everyone, for the last time before I go off to the motherland,
The motherland. He's going to the Philippines.
going to the Philippines.
Come back safe.
For one last time. Gents, that was Goldfish. Boys.
We'll see you next week.
I can't hit those notes.